Hello and welcome to this week's training. It's the second part in our series of selling skills. Today's focus is going to be Medicare Advantage and Part D marketing do's and don'ts. It's a really good snippet of things that are important and relevant when you think about marketing Medicare Advantage and Part D prescription drug plans. It's not all inclusive, so if you need more information, please don't hesitate to contact me after the meeting. My name is Erin Ackenheil. I'm the hostess today and really want to just help you position some of the do's and don'ts, how to market in a compliant manner, and to leverage all the good work you're doing out there to grow your business in a compliant manner. So let's get started. We have a full agenda over the next 30 minutes or so. I'll be doing a Blackpoint commercial, why work with us. If you're interested, you can reach out to us at blackpointinsurance.com, see how you might be able to leverage not only our training, but our additional support and services that we provide. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the types of Medicare marketing, the do's and don'ts, and then we'll go into specific do's and don'ts related to different activities you're likely to conduct when you're working in the Medicare space. And then we'll certainly take Q&A. Because we're recording live and streaming today, we're taking questions in the chat. Just want to encourage you to like the Blackpoint Insurance page on YouTube, to like us on Facebook and on LinkedIn. That'll give you an opportunity to see some of our sessions, the recorded versions, in addition to a live version like today. So for now, let's jump in and get started. So first off, the Blackpoint commercial, who we are and what we do. What happens is when you want to launch your own business in the broker space for Medicare plans, it can be a lot easier to do that if you work with an upline partner. Now, not all upline partners are created equally. You want to work with a partner who's going to put the commissions in your pocket, not take anything out of your pocketbook, and help you to support and grow your business from a strategic standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, from a training and communication standpoint. And so how it works with Blackpoint is we work through an upline partner called Van Berg & Associates. Van Berg is located in Northern California in Brentwood. They have contracts with all the major carriers that you'll see here and more. And basically what happens is Van Berg is what they call the FMO, or the Field Marketing Organization. And then at Blackpoint, me, Erin Ackenheil, I own the local general agency that helps you with the local market support. Now, Van Berg is a great partner. They have an agent pit stop sales tool where you can go in there and you can get rate information for all the different plans nationwide. They help support the contracting process, getting you lined up with the different various organizations and kind of streamlining that process for you to get certified and ready to sell. They create an entire marketing portfolio, different plug and play pieces that are CMS approved. So you can find the scenario that you're looking for. If it's for a specific carrier, find that scenario as well and plug and play in the marketplace. They help with processing enrollment. So you can send all of your paper apps into this site, as well as having an online tool for going across carriers to enroll in Medicare Advantage and Part D plans, along with MedSup. And then they offer some IT support. They have a tool for scopes of appointments called Sunfire Matrix. So easy to use. It's also what we use for our online enrollments. It has really taken all of our selling to the next level, make us able to work remotely very efficiently and help more and more Medicare beneficiaries. So Van Berg provides this really strong overview of things that you'll need in terms of managing your business. Now at Blackpoint, what we do is we're going to help you with your local marketing support, helping you strategize in your certain area, helping you with your business planning. How are you going to go to market? Are you going to try to generate referrals? Are you going to do local community area marketing? Do you want to do more traditional marketing? So we're going to help you strategize with that plan. We're going to help you much more comprehensively with training. Today's an example of that, just helping you figure out how to go to market in a compliant manner, helping you with different product information, bringing in carrier representatives to help provide additional training. We also have a CRM tool that we use at Blackpoint. We use Salesforce. You can become part of our umbrella and use that tool to help manage your business. We're also going to help you with retention support, how to make a better relationship with the clients you already have, how to work with them at certain touch points when they have opportunities to make changes, to make sure you're always in front of their decision, providing top-notch quality service. So those are the things that you could look forward to working with Blackpoint. So if you don't have an upline partner now, or you would like more help in growing your business, please don't hesitate to contact us. You can contact me directly or go to blackpointinsurance.com, fill out an inquiry form, and we can help you with more information. Now on to the training at hand. So what are the types of marketing for Medicare? And you'll see there's a lot of traditional marketing, things like direct mail and flyers and newspaper, but we also see TV commercials, brand advertising. We see carriers doing support for retention campaigns. We see a lot of search engine optimization, so on the web and trying to get people to drive towards certain websites. So it's really broad in terms of what's available in certain marketing. But when you're talking about Medicare Advantage and Part D prescription drug, you can't just go to market any old way. There's rules and regulations, and you need to be really, really careful when you're out there marketing. So for one, is you always want to be making sure you're using CMS approved materials. CMS stands for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. You always want to make sure, particularly if you're talking about benefits or plan design or working with a carrier and using their brand, make sure those materials are approved. You can work with the different carriers. They have a compliance department to help you get these materials approved. You don't need to go alone and do this. And as an upline partner, I can help you to get materials approved or help you develop new pieces to help you with your market. Now, you want to be careful if it's not just educational in nature content that you're putting out there, that everything is approved prior to going to market. The other thing that you want to be really careful about is making sure you don't use absolutes in Medicare Advantage and Part D marketing. This is the best plan in the area. XYZ plan is the best plan you're going to find, or the most excellent plan you're going to find. So absolute statements, they're number one. You want to be really careful about using absolutes, both in your verbal communication and obviously in your written marketing as well. You also want to be sure not to claim that you're representing Medicare. Oh, Medicare asked me to give you a call to make sure you have your best plan. You don't want to be using that, and you certainly don't want to use carrier logos without their permission. So really working with our carrier partners is key. If that's difficult for you individually, it's not an issue, because if you're working with an upline partner like Blackpoint through Van Berg, we have those relationships for you. We probably have a number of the pieces that you would be looking to use already available in our library or portfolio of materials. But if you need something new, we're going to help you develop that and help you with your marketing plan. So on to more do's and don'ts. How are you allowed to market to potential clients? So you can certainly use approved advertisements in the newspaper, direct mail. You can provide great service to your existing clients and ask referrals. But remember, for Medicare Advantage and Part D products, it's not enough for your client just to say, call Susie. Susie needs to contact you, and you need to have appropriate permission to contact information before you're reaching out directly. So be sure to let your clients know as they're sending you new people, referrals and so forth, to have them contact you. Works quite well. If you use a tool like Salesforce, you can document that permission to contact and make sure you're renewing that each time there's a new enrollment period to keep track of that, so you have permission to continue to communicate with that potential prospect. You always want to be careful not to market door to door or approach beneficiaries in unsolicited areas, parking lots, senior centers. In a healthcare setting, you have to be very careful to limit your contact to common areas where you have a table set up. You can't approach people in a clinical setting when they're getting care. So being really careful about where and how you approach beneficiaries is super important. And it really is just a common sense approach. If they come to you, you can talk to them. You should document that permission to communicate and to continue to contact. And you don't want to be too aggressive in your marketing tactics. So when can you contact a potential client? You'll see there's all these different methods. We can email, we can phone them, we can try to send them direct messages. We can contact existing clients to discuss plan business or to discuss plan options within that parent company pretty much anytime we need to. We have to be careful though if we have a client disenroll for Medicare Advantage and Part D plans. You're allowed to contact them for survey purposes, but not to remarket to them. Some of the carriers are better than others at letting you know when your client has disenrolled and often can provide the reason why. Maybe they've passed away and you want to set them a condolence card. Maybe they've changed carriers. So by contacting the company that you work with or working through your upline to find out why someone disenrolled, that can be helpful for your database and help you in the future in terms of providing the best possible service for your clients. So be careful about contacting people who have disenrolled, and it's really just for survey purposes only. You never want to send unsolicited text messages, phone calls, leave voicemails, or use bait and switch tactics. So you're talking about one topic and then you try to reposition it for Medicare Advantage and Part D. So you have to be very careful to follow regulations when it comes to making client contact. Now, I want to remind everybody, you can put questions in the chat box. I don't see anything in there so far, but let's continue on this path of when we can contact potential clients. Now, when it's a prospect, you can contact a potential Medicare beneficiary when they filled out a BRC or a business reply card or completed a scope of appointment saying they want to meet with you. Remember, referrals should contact you first. It's not enough for your client to say, Susie really wants to talk to you. Susie herself needs to reach out directly when it comes to Medicare Advantage and Part D prescription drug plans. Let them know, that you'll be following up and really make sure to obtain that permission to contact. A lot of times you're working with clients who are still going to be working and they're going to not be taking their Medicare Part B at this time, but they want future contact. You can agree to that at a certain timeline, get in touch with them, and then always be recapturing permission to continue to be in touch. People appreciate you keeping in touch, but you also want to make sure you're following the rules. Again, you're never calling on behalf of Medicare or endorsed by Medicare. You also want to be careful within your marketing materials that you're not including symbols or implications that Medicare is endorsing your advertising or you in particular over any other agent or potential person they could work with. Now, one of the big things we do, particularly at open enrollment, is we hold certain types of events, sales events or educational events. A sales event or a marketing event is when you really have an intent to sell a certain product, to talk about plan benefits and specifics, including copays or premiums, that type of thing. If you're going to do that, you're talking sales event. An educational event is when you provide great information and content about Medicare A, B, C's, and D's, but you're not talking about any plan premiums or benefit specifics, and you're not taking enrollments at the event. So you want to be really, really careful when you're filing events with the certain carriers that you're filing it appropriately for what you're looking to do. When you do sales and marketing events with Medicare Advantage and Part D products, you do need to file the events with the specific carriers. And if you're going to represent more than one carrier, you need to file the event with every single carrier you intend to represent at the event. When you do sales events, you must do this far in advance. Every carrier has their own policy in terms of timing, and you must use CMS, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services ads, approved for that particular event. So a marketing piece or a sales meeting flyer, whatever you're going to use, make sure those materials are CMS approved. And generally that's going to include language that says a sales representative will be there and taking applications. At sales and marketing events, it's snacks only. Think pretzels and fruit versus a burrito. Okay, so you can only serve snacks. Again, you want to use approved materials at the meetings. So I think either using a CMS approved PowerPoint for that particular carrier that you plan to represent, or a great strategy is to use things like the summary of benefits that have already been CMS approved to walk through people through the details. At sales and marketing events, you can definitely take enrollments. And if your sales and marketing event has been advertised, it's not necessary to get a scope of appointment form if the application is taken right at that sales meeting in conjunction with you explaining all of the benefits. At sales and marketing events, it's really distinguished that you're talking about benefits and premiums, you're taking enrollments for the plan. You have to have a sign-in sheet available, but providing contact information is optional. So you can never force a Medicare beneficiary to provide their contact information. Be sure not to provide meals at any sales and marketing events. And one of the big things that we see a lot of is people not showing up for events at all or showing up late. So it's important to be on time and to make sure that you attend event. Sometimes you get busy during an open enrollment, you're predicting a no-show. You don't want to waste your time, so to speak, to go, but it's very important to show up and wait at least 15 minutes to make sure nobody attends that meeting. You want to provide proper signage. Now, if you need to cancel on an emergency basis within 48 hours of the event, contact the carrier as soon as possible. Let them know, and you're supposed to be sending someone to be there at the event in case somebody shows up. Now, of course, there's exceptions, inclement weather that prevents you from getting there. You just want to report it to the carrier and get direction from there. If you're canceling an event farther in advance of the meeting, it is a CMS requirement that you would advertise the cancellation in the event in the same method that you marketed. So if you did direct mail, you're supposed to do direct mail to show the cancellation of the event. So you want to be strategic and careful in your planning that the events that you're going to do, you're going to show up for, and that you're following the policies and procedures of the various carriers. You don't want to get stuck doing events or being in a non-compliant situation as it relates to sales meetings. Now, educational events, of course, are different. Here, you could actually serve a meal if you'd like. You still have to file the events with the carriers. You're going to be providing educational materials. You're limited in what you can give the Medicare beneficiary for a future marketing appointment. You can provide a business card. You're also allowed to obtain a scope of appointment or to book the future sales meeting with them, but you can't provide them with a summary of benefits for a plan or specific benefit information, that type of thing. So be very, very careful. Sales events, as well as educational events, always have to be filed with the carriers, the health plans themselves. And again, we can make that easy for you by working with an upline partner. We can streamline that and get all the relevant information out to the various carriers, particularly when you're representing more than one. It can really simplify the process for you. Remember, don't discuss premium or benefits or any kind of plan specific information, and you definitely cannot take enrollments at an educational event. Snacks versus meals. This is probably a big one. Back when I started in this industry, it was just a hometown buffet extravaganza. Medicare plans were having, Medicare beneficiaries come out, and some people were just coming for the lunch, right? Getting the buffet, the pizza, the Chinese food you see here. So there was a lot of kind of tactics where we were in a situation where people were being kind of paid in the form of a meal to attend a meeting. And I think there was an inference that you had to sign up because we're providing you a significant gift like a meal. And so that really changed in regulations over the years. And now sales and marketing events are limited to snacks, hopefully healthy snacks, more like the apple and the coffee variety, but pretzels or chips or a donut or something, a muffin, that fits into the snack category. I always like to bring it up. Technically at educational events, you can provide a meal, but I think it's just as well to encourage behavior that people are here just to get the information, and a light snack is probably more than enough for a seminar that's an hour or so long. Now, a lot of times people want to provide gifts for incentives, gifts for attending the seminar, that type of thing. You can offer gifts for people to come to your meetings, and you can say, hey, I want to give a gift card within limits. It's not supposed to be big box stores, so it can be like your local restaurant or local store, $15 less in value. You do have to provide the gift for everyone in attendance. And if someone calls and is not willing to attend the event, you still have to provide the gift. So it's not a contingency to enroll or to attend. It's available for anyone, but you certainly can use the gift guide. You have to be careful. You can't provide both a $15 gift card and a mug and a notebook, because the cumulative value of that would be greater than $15. So you have to be careful, but you could provide a notebook and a pen and another little tchotchke that had a value of less than $15 for anybody who attends your event. You definitely cannot provide cash or cash equivalents, and the amount cannot exceed $15. So something to be careful about. Now, in addition to sales seminars, probably one of the more common things we do, either as a follow-up to a sales seminar or just as part of normal course of doing business, is we conduct one-on-one marketing appointments. A lot of times those are done face-to-face over the kitchen table. Sometimes they're done via Zoom or telephonically in this latest time of COVID, but it's really important to follow the rules for one-on-one marketing appointments. First of all, you should obtain a scope of appointment form, an SOA, in advance of the appointment. So that means getting permission to have that appointment and to discuss certain products. When you're in the meeting, again, just like in a sales seminar, you want to use CMS approved materials, and you are allowed to take enrollments. You always want to make sure that you're following the marketing checklist for a sales meeting, one-on-one or in a seminar setting. So providing things like star rating information, following that appointment checklist, and discussing the different plan options is critically important. You have to be very careful not to discuss plans not articulated in the scope of appointment. If you're in an appointment and the beneficiary wants to switch things up and talk about something that you didn't get permission for in advance, you'll need to take a new scope of appointment and then continue with the enrollment meeting. You can definitely take enrollments, but you don't want to say you'll hold an enrollment. Very critical that if you take an application, you process it within the next 24 hours and get it to the plan, or take the online enrollment. You also want to be careful that you never accept applications outside of a valid election period. So for instance, at open enrollment, you can take applications between October 15th and December 7th for Medicare Advantage and Part D changes effective the following January. Even though you have a marketing window between October 1st and 14th, where you can discuss plan benefit information, you cannot take those applications until the 15th of October. So very, very careful. And make sure you're not marketing non-health related products at those appointments. No bait and switch. The scope of appointment is where I really want to wrap things up for you today in terms of the importance of a scope of appointment or a permission slip. The carriers produce their own permission slips each year in a CMS approved paper form. A lot of those are carrier specific and not generic. I personally recommend using a generic scope of appointment so you can cover all the different plans in a given area. Van Berg makes that very easy to do with their Sunfire tool. So you can go in there and talk about all different Medicare Advantage and Part D prescription drug options and have that scope of appointment stored electronically, because you are required to keep scope of appointment forms for 10 years. So imagine how that could stack up with your paper scopes in your paper file cabinet, right? So doing it with the online tool, it takes about 2 minutes. It can be texted to your Medicare beneficiary, emailed, very easy for them to complete. And you need to be able to provide a copy of that scope of appointment at the carrier's request, or some carriers actually request that you provide the scope of appointment with the enrollment form. So you need to know each of the carriers' different policies. We can make that easy for you to do at Blackpoint through Van Berg, because we know all the relationships with the different carriers and what the rules are, and we can help educate you and train you on what's appropriate. You want to be very, very careful never to discuss products that are outside the scope of appointment. If that is requested, remember, get a new scope, and then you can continue on with the appointment. So at this point, certainly we didn't have time to cover every do and don't that's available on Medicare Advantage and Part D prescription drug plans, but we really wanted to give you a flavor today of what it's like relative to sales seminars and in-home appointments, and make sure you have all that good information today. If you'd like to contact me, I'm available at blackpointinsurance.com. Want to make sure you feel comfortable contacting me anytime. And also, please be sure to like and subscribe. I'm also on Facebook. Erin helps with Medicare coverage, Blackpoint Insurance. Please go ahead and put a request out to follow that page so you can get more information on additional trainings. Also, contact the office or email us directly if you'd like to set up time to strategize in your market. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful day. Appreciate your time today. Take care.